Hey guys, welcome. I have Basket, Secret, Grandmother, Dairy Cow, and Happy. And my ending will be after that crazy night, he or she promised never to use magic again. Once upon a time, in a tiny village, there was a young boy named Billy. He lived in a small house with many other children and had no room for even his thoughts. Billy was a rather sad child and always wished for a better, happy life. In the house there was only one adult who everyone called Grandma. Now Grandma and the children were not related. Rather, they were all children that no one wanted anymore, or whose parents had passed away and the children had all come to live with Grandma. Grandma was a very kind and caring person. Each night she told them all stories about her life, and how she had always loved nature and lived off the land. She did her best to make them all feel like they were part of a family. She had a small farm for which to feed the children. Each day she would gather all the boys and teach them how to tend to the animals and maintain the fruit trees. Of course, Billy hated doing this, but he knew that if he wanted to eat, he had to help. The worst animals were the dairy cows. They smelled terrible, and to think of the manner of which he had to get some milk for his cereal made him gag. One day, Grandma started to feel ill. None of the children knew what was bothering her, but could sense that it was serious, because on this day, Grandma did not even get out of bed. One of the children ran to the doctor a mile away and brought her back immediately. None of the children were allowed in the room with the doctor and Grandma, so they did not know what was going on. After a while, the doctor came out. He looked at all the children and said that Grandma did not have much time. Billy thought that if Grandma had passed away, that someone would come and take all of the children away, and he would have to live in an even smaller house. He asked why this would happen to him. He felt like Grandma's farm was the only place that he could call home, although he did wish for something bigger and better. He decided that he would have to find a new home for all of the children to live far away from the adults who would take them away. So one night he packed up a basket full of fruit that Grandma had always done before they went for a walk, and he went off before the sun began to rise. Billy had never been out of the village, but he did know that there was a road that led through the nearby forest. Beyond that, he was not sure what was out there, but he knew that if he were to find a new home, this is where it would be. He started running out of excitement. After a few miles, he tired and ate a piece of fruit and dropped the seed on the ground. He ran mile after mile doing the same routine. When the sun started to go down, Billy was scared. He decided it was best to keep on going because Grandma did not have much time left and the children would all be taken away soon. He ran through the night until he heard a strange noise. It sounded like a frog, but it was far too loud. He began to slow down, and with each step he took, the ribbit got louder and louder. Then all of a sudden he turned around. He was face to face with an 8-foot tall frog. Billy had never seen a creature so big, and he was scared, and not a word came from his mouth. The frog asked Billy what he was doing. Billy, finally finding the courage to speak to the frog, told him his entire story. The frog had just the answer. He said, "If you give me your basket of fruit, I will tell you the secret to finding a new home." Billy was not sure if he could believe a frog he never had before. The frog noticed his uncertainty and decided to show him a tiny secret. He said, "With this twig, you can turn the trees into anything you want." He suddenly pointed the twig at a tree and turned it into a brand new mattress. Billy imagined all the possibilities of this twig. He could build a new home and a farm for all the children to live, and he was far enough away from his village that he was sure no adults were near. He gladly exchanged his basket of fruit for the twig. Before leaving, the frog told Billy to be careful with the twig because it contained a lot of powerful magic. Billy ignored the advice and began to change everything around him. He made a new home for each of the children, and Grandma's farm was twice as big. He started to change all the trees into things that he had wished for. Then suddenly he began to lose his breath. What he did not realize was that because he had changed all of the trees around him into things, there was no air left for him to breathe. He panicked and he tried to change some of the things back, but they only grew bigger and bigger. He decided he had to leave at once. He dropped the twig and nearly passed out and fainted. He began to crawl away from the new home he had created. He started to crawl, then realized that he had come so far, he did not know his way back home. He thought this was the end. Then a cow appeared, and it was oddly familiar. Billy knew he was a goner because the cows that he had hated had come to get their revenge and take him away. The cow said to Billy, "Remember your basket of fruit." Billy was confused. He had given his basket away for his terrible secret magic twig. Then as he was laying on the floor and the night turned into day, he saw a small leaf starting to sprout. At that moment he realized that all the seeds that he had dropped along the way were going to do the same. The further he got away from the magic twig, the more trees there were, and he got his strength back enough to run home with each fruit tree lighting his path. When he arrived home, he was so happy he felt like he had been gone for years, although it was only one night. Just then, Grandma walked out of the front door. Billy was shocked to see her, and he ran to give her a hug. Grandma told Billy that today was not her day to leave this world, but that one day she would leave and this will always be home. She also told him, "When I am buried in the ground, I hope to light your path." Billy was surprised to hear this because that was just how he got home, from the fruit lighting his path. He knew that the land and nature would always take care of him, and after that crazy night, he promised never to use magic again.